used in private investigation jobs, so you find a lot of PIs. If they don't want to tail someone physically, they'll just use OSINT. There's loads of freelancing PI jobs with OSINT that can get you quite a bit of money. If you get good at it, you're an asset to any team that you work on. As well as, if you're working in a business environment, if you check this against yourself, you know how secure your online footprint is. So if you're checking it against yourself, you're less likely to put your company at risk. So this is the process of OSINT. So you set your goals, so what you're looking for. So usually you'd be looking for passwords, email addresses, subdomains, anything that can be used against the company. And usually you set these goals beforehand, depending on what the company have said that you can use and what the company have said you can attack. So if you're looking for passwords and they only want you to check whether the web server's working, then it's useless. Then you go into gather. So this is finding information about your goals, getting as much information as you can from a single place or a single target. And then you analyze it. You go through, check if it's the real people that you're looking for. So if it's, you double check that your information that you've gathered is useful, if it's relevant, and whether it can be used against the company. And then you pivot. So from the information that you've got on something, you can then expand it. So it's basically like a detective board. You've got a photo, you can find out. So that's, you gathered your information, you've gathered a photo, then you can find out where the photo was taken, what it's of, who's in the photo, and this is all you pivot. And you keep doing that, you repeat that until you've got enough information to use it against a company or an individual, and then you validate. So this is checking that all the information that you've collected is about the right people, is correct, and whether it's going to be useful. It's
just giving them a use case.
It's information collecting against a company. And also, if you're doing something like social engineering, you've collected this information beforehand, they think you know what you're talking about. They actually think you're part of the company.
So in a sense, it's once you've collected enough data about enough people in the company that you're working on, you could then ring someone who works in HR or someone and say, oh, I'm so-and-so from the network team.
You've got enough information.
There might be a bit of a glitch on your system today.
Exactly.
Just ignore it.
Or if you're actually trying to go into the company and you know the name of the regional manager, say, Ben sent me. Yeah. I've got an email that I've just put on an iPad that looks like a real email from Ben.
Yeah, send them a one back.
So generally they'll have like a security question or two. It could be something like when I worked at Northgate, it was your number, your employee number, and your date of birth. So you ring HR, and if you can extract that sort of information, like employee numbers, date of birth's probably your easiest target. You can then get something like an employee number. But weeks before that, you could have rang up and like even just put the phone down when they ask for the security question, so you then know what information to look for, if that makes sense.
So this is one of the main things that if you're a security engineer or you want to work in security, you want to be doing this. You want to make sure that your online footprint isn't trackable by anyone else. So social media pages, LinkedIn, any online weird accounts that you've got on forums, you want to make sure that they're completely unconnected. You can have them, but just make sure they're completely unconnected. And it's sort of it's called operational security, OPSEC. And so while you're doing OSINT, there's OPSEC for that, or there's OPSEC just while you're on the internet. This includes 10-minute mail, so fake email addresses, using fake names, fake date of births, don't have accounts linked. Everyone knows what information they use on everything. Some people give out more information than some people don't. So that if you're actually trying to look at a company passively, that they can't know that it's not just a normal user. Things like using a proxy, knowing if they've got honeypots, so knowing if they've got a place that they expect people to look, and also don't use LinkedIn on your normal account. Log out of all your accounts before you go onto anything. So the first sort of concept that I'm going to introduce you to is Exif data and metadata. So every file that you upload to the internet, if you've ever uploaded a file to the internet, contains some metadata. So this is information on the file about the file. So it could be when the picture was taken, what version of Word was used to create the Word document. Things like the location when it was published. All this is included in files by default. If you're taking a photo with a Nikon camera, it will say Nikon, it will say the aperture settings that you were using, it will say the lens that you were using, the location it was taken, all this stuff. And then if you upload that to the internet, someone trying to attack your company gets a pinpoint of exactly where you took that photo. This is a lot of sites strip it. So a lot of sites like Facebook, Twitter now, Blogspot doesn't, but Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn, a lot of social media sites get rid of this. But if they're setting up their own websites and they don't know to strip this information, then you get locations of when photos were taken, where, what direction they were facing, and any information about the camera that they were using. Jeffrey's Image Viewer. This is an online tool. You can get the inbuilt into Windows. If you right click on an image and go to Properties, you can see the metadata that's included in the image, as well as any other files on your computer. It's a metadata viewer. But this online tool, Jeffrey's Image Viewer, is one of the better tools for stuff like this. It will pinpoint on a map where it was taken, it will show you the direction, and it will also give you any other metadata that goes along with it.
Why would that be valuable, like the image data generally? Is it just to...
location, so if you're trying to track someone and they upload an image with the metadata on it, you know the location when they took that photo, and it has the date and the time on that photo of where they were when.
So for instance, like a blogger's
exactly.
consistently taking blog photos that you can track where they were.
It also shows the device as well, doesn't it? So if you knew, for example, if it was a phone and you knew an exploit that would work on that phone,
it can. A lot of public facing servers like Facebook and some of the likes just clear up straight.
Yeah, we've already said that.
Sorry, I was concentrating on that. Fair enough.
Yeah. Images are also useful in ways that are like, if someone's put up an image and they've taken it of a beach with buildings in the background, even if they don't have metadata on it, if you know those buildings and where they are, then you can pinpoint where they've been. There's a lot of information that people include in photographs that isn't the direct, because a lot of time if you're taking a photo, you're looking for a specific piece of information, right? You're looking for, this is me and my boyfriend on the beach, blah blah blah. But it doesn't show the buildings in the background that says Barcelona 2016, blah blah blah. No one pays attention to the background information in an image. So this is sort of a list of useful tools that are used for a lot of this stuff. We'll be covering everything apart from ReconNG and Shodan. We've got a session on Shodan later, and ReconNG you guys wouldn't be able to use because you need to apply for keys from the websites that you want to be using that will allow you to get the information. If you want to get into online PI work, there is an extended list of tools that has, I think it's about 90 tools on the OSINT framework. So this one is a huge collection of online tools that's just links to tools. If you want a more specified tool list, if you message Net, I can send you a text document over that has all the specific tools that I would use in a OSINT session, in an investigation.
So the Harvester and ReconNG are on Kali Linux as well?
Yeah, so the Harvester and ReconNG are both on Kali, and then a lot of the other ones are just online tools. So Buscador, it's a operating system like Kali, like Windows, like any Linux system, is specifically built for open source intelligence gathering. It's useful, but a lot of this stuff is on Kali already. So you've got your sublister with DNS enumeration that we did last week. Things like Harvester, email harvester, the Tor browser, so your operational security is good while you're using it. Google Earth Pro, and Spiderfoot. So Spiderfoot, if you are interested and you don't want to install one of these operating systems and you want to get sort of a good look into the automated side of OSINT, Spiderfoot is on Windows. It's free to download. You can use it. You put in a search parameter and it will search. It's a big web scraper. It'll pull information from the internet and it will collate it for you people to read. It's not one of the best ones. It's far from one of the best ones. But it's on Windows, so if you want to get into it and just see what you can find about yourself, see if you're on any Pastebins. Yeah, so Pastebin is an online document sharing tool. And on Pastebin, you get a lot of useful information about usernames and passwords. So if you know what to search for using Google Dorking, you can find 100,000 different lists, each with 7,000 different username and passwords in them. There's 5 main Pastebin sites. If you want them, hit net up. I can send you the list. If you are using Kali or Buscador, the harvester, this will use things like Google, Bing, LinkedIn, and it will scrape these sites for a search term. So if you look at the bottom, there's a couple examples. So it's the harvester, and then the domain that you want to search from here. So D, Microsoft.com, results you want, and then what you're searching. But this is a super useful tool if you want to collect a lot of information quickly. And you'll find that a lot of automated OSINT tools they lack the intuition that a person has when looking at the information. So it'll pull a whole lot of information down, but you always want to sift through it first before you start using it, because the information that you can find from that information will be a lot more useful than what you can get from the harvester necessarily. So the OSINT framework, we've been over this. It's every piece of starting information that you would expect. So if you've been given a username from Steam or something like that, you start on the username tab and it will check any sites. So you've got username search engines, so things like people. This is one of the things that if you have an API key from sites like this, it will show up, it won't give you any verification. It will stop verification from popping up so that you can do 50 searches or 100 searches one after another. And that's the uses of an API key. Daniel Stewart. So this is giving you any open Facebook pages for the people that you're looking for. Facebook page here or any linked accounts.
Is that on your Facebook or
yeah, I think so. You put it here.
Anything else?
For operational security, if you don't want to be in these lists, you can set your Facebook privacy settings so that you don't appear in search engines, which it looks like Dan has done. But if you see something on Google that you don't want there, you can send Google an email. It's you either want right to be forgotten, or there's a sneaky way of doing it and saying that this information is private and it will just not display the search result. But if you're looking for things like this, so anyone got a username that they want me to search?
No thanks.
Just a quick note there, Q, you're not logged in as well. You would get more access with a logged in account of that, obviously.
A lot of the time with logged in and people, the service doesn't change,
right.
It just gives you an API key,
Oh,
which allows you to search loads of times.
Oh, right.
Why don't you use your own
got your own username. I'm not an idiot.
No. Basically.
But this is what you guys can be doing for your own stuff. But if you search your own information and see what's out there, there's things you can do to delete old accounts, obfuscating information that can be found, and general things like that that will stop you from showing up in these. From people searches, there's a really useful one, 192.com in the UK is the main one. It is an online phone book. If you know the name and you have a general idea of where they live, if it's a postcode, it'll give you every Dan Stewart in that area. And then if you know them, the area that they are, you can find out what postcodes are in the area. And then just search those postcodes and it'll give you all the Daniel Stewarts in that area. And the chances are there's not going to be many in Hartlepool. If you're looking at email addresses, things like email searches. If you've been given an email, you can Google Dork, which we'll get onto later, where you can search for all known email addresses in a breach. So you put the username at Hotmail, it could be .co.uk, .com, anything like that, and then you can just press enter and it'll show if it's been in a breach. Sites like Have I Been Pwned? It will check if your account has been compromised in a data breach. If you're in Facebook before last week, I will reiterate that all the information that you should be collecting has to be public. If it's not public, it's illegal. If they didn't give it out publicly, you go to the slammer. And these are all reverse image search tools. Useful ones. The only ones worth using are Google, TinyEye, Yandex, TinEye, sorry, and that's about it. Everything else will give you something for a specific website. Yandex is like a Russian one that doesn't really have any restrictions of what it checks. TinEye is just a general one, and then Google is another general one, but because they're hosted in the US or in Europe, you have some restrictions on what they're allowed to keep. If we go to Google Images, paste the URL in, make sure I'm not a robot. This doesn't always happen, it's just there you go. And then if you go on all images, this is, every one of these is a different site that it's on. And if you see at the bottom, it's really useful if you're looking for a wallpaper and you only find where the smallest image of a wallpaper. If you look at the bottom, if you're looking for like a 1080p one, it'll say that. So if you want a fancy wallpaper but you only have the 720p one, shove it in there. That's your general reverse image search. So this will be useful if you're trying to find someone that's got a Twitter account. Twitter comes up here. Photos of themselves, if they put a photo of themselves up and they want, and they've used it somewhere else, it'll be up there.
For example, like when people cross-post between Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, if you can only find one of their accounts, you can find the Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and everything from just the Instagram search.
Yes, from all the images. So a lot of the tools for OSINT are specific to a certain piece of information, and they try to expand what information you can find. It's got other stuff, so some dark web searches, and everyone thinks that the dark web isn't mapped, but people get scrapers, scrape the dark web. Dark web searches, they may be out of date, but they're still useful to find the information. Just because it's on the dark web doesn't mean it's unfindable. As well as any other starting piece of information that you want, the manual tools are on there. So we'll go on to Google Dorking and Google Hacking because I know we've spoken about it. Generally, it's super simple to do. So this is the tools list anyway. So this is just a general list of different tools that are useful for different things. If you want it, I can send it you. This is all the sites that I like pasting.
Can you work on Evernote, by the way?
Yeah, we'll do. IP address lookups. So this will be where in the world their IP address is coming from. Skype finders. Skype is like super insecure. don't use Skype, please. Not only is the people that will grab your IP from it, but you can grab their email address and any other random bits of information that you need. If you want to know where they live, or you have a general idea, house information at Zillow, and then
This totally isn't creepy at all.
oh, it is. It definitely is. No, this is
the purpose of this. It's meant to be creepy.
It is the creepiest part we'll probably get into.
It has to be creepy, basically.
Yeah, and then people searches 192. It's an online phone book.
Oh, sorry.
No. So it's your online phone book, as well as the electoral register. If you sign up to vote, you can go to you can go and check the electoral register for your region.
Wait, so we have to do it?
Yes, you get fined if you don't. Congratulations.
That's not quite nice.
Yeah, and then these are the useful things. Seeing if your password has been breached. There's also things like hash killer and breach alert. So you'll put in your email address, and if it has been breached, if it finds out that you've been breached in the future, it'll send you an email saying you've been involved in this breach. Check and change your passwords, essentially. That's usually what it does. Username check-ins. If you've got an account that you have a username to but don't know how to link it to anything else, this will check against loads of different sites and just go to the user pages of every single site to see if it's already made a user, to see if someone's already created a user there, and it will tell you where to search for other information about that username. We'll get back to Google Dorking, because I know I've touched. There are so many tools that I could go over them all day. This is just an example of Google Dorking and how it's used. So, if you look on your cheat sheets, the site sort of delimiter will limit your search to a specific site. So if you're searching pastebin, I don't know why you would. If you're searching pastebin, the site delimiter is the thing you want to be using. So we'll search the BBC. You know, there's loads of stuff on the BBC. Untitled is if anyone knows anything about HTML, what there is, there's different headers in HTML, and there's different ways that they can set up a site. That means that when you search it in Google, you will only find the title, or you will only find, Google knows what to display to you guys. So what does everyone love? Golf. So we put in quotes, we search Google, we search the BBC, and you'll see that every article comes up there, every domain that it links to will be www.bbc.com, bbc.com, 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 all these will be bbc.com search results. You can string them together. If you look at what is there, there's super useful things. So, phone book. You'll search any phone book sites for all that information. Authors, so if you know someone's got a Google account which they write to, authors will bring up any books that is linked to them. Safe search, it will exclude adult content. And then it's also got ranges, so if you're trying to find information about a target and you don't know say they've got numbers at the end of their email address, if you put a range there, it will search for every email address within the range of those numbers.
Alright, so like first name dot surname and like 1 and 2 and 3 for all of like worked out.
So we'll do just a quick one. Well, that's a pretty panda, I can put that there. What won't get me thrown in prison? There is ways to search for a phone number, so it'd be in text, if you're looking for in the text of a website, and then colon, and then you'd write in the phone number, so 07976 54126. I wish. And then it will do searches for where that phone number comes up on every phone number in the UK is given an area code. If you see down here, and depending on the area that you're getting a phone call from, or you've got the number from, it will also limit down the location that they were at when they got that phone number. So if it's, the chances are it'll be the house, because it's connected to the house. There's directly linked to their location. Other things that you can do with Google Dorking is, if you go on ExploitDB, Google hacking database, each one of these is a different search term.
This is super useful, by the way.
Yeah, each one of these is a different search that you can put into Google that will give you some information. So, sensitive information, files containing juicy info. It's in categories. If you go to this website, this is open, free to anyone on the internet. This is just around. If you're searching for an email, ExploitDB, Google hacking database, it's updated every day. People, it's a community sourced thing, so people, if they get a good one that they like, they'll throw it up there and other people will use it. If you're looking for, say you know a website might have an exploit, you see vulnerabilities, and these are all ones that will put into Google, will give up vulnerable websites, vulnerable servers. If you connect them to an IP, it'll check if they're vulnerable, and then it will display any vulnerable websites to you using a command on Google. It's not illegal to search for them, it's illegal to break them. So how would you search for a website login with WordPress? If this were an open website, it would link you directly to the WordPress portal. Older versions of WordPress had a lot of issues with the login portals actually displaying their information in plain text that they were looking for. So if you know how to exploit them, that's there.
If you want to know if a site's built with WordPress, just put /wp-admin as well.
Yeah. bbc.com in URL. So this should search. There we go. So this will show you any sites that have something after the slash. It's not a great example, but if you know you're looking at a website and you put in URL their domain /wildcard, if it has something after that that would contain that wildcard, so the wildcard dilemma is like anything. So if it has this, then anything after it, it will display it there. You see that every single one of these has a slash, and then /news. All these are /something. One of the most useful things for using OSINT is IntelliTechniques. If you haven't heard of this before, this is a site that was developed by Michael, and it has search tools for all the main social media sites. So if you know the username of someone's social media site, like this, thank you, William.
Oh, I don't know what this.
You can go to the Facebook. You can put in their username. You can click go.
Yeah, please don't click on that again.
And it will give you the user ID number. You can stop it from giving you a user ID number in your privacy settings, which would stop people searching it this way.
What could you actually do with that ID?
So you see all these things, all these places visited, where they've been linked to. photos,
Where have you been,
they've
Gareth?
interacted in, their interests, their
That's not mine.
attitudes,
No.
the videos, the posts have been tagged in. This is a search tool for Facebook that will give you this information. In their URL is where you find this William Bennett 16. So if you find that, you get the user ID number, you can search any information on their Facebook, any useful information, using this. So if they're in groups with people, who the friends are, if they're part of a company, you'll be able to see work photos, anything like that. It works for groups on Facebook. And then on this side, you've got reverse image tools. So this one, you put in a URL of an image and it'll submit all, and it'll give you all of them. It'll search all of them, it'll just create new tabs and it'll search all of them for you. Does
it display it on the page? Or does it display it in a new tab?
Every new tab will be a new search for that URL.
Oh, okay.
Things like Instagram.
It's just speeding it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Speeding the
so
whole process up a little bit.
this is the main point of this is to speed up the searching process. But there's reverse video search, which only works for these specific sites. And this is the only tool on the internet that I know of that will reverse video search.